On this week's edition of Loyola News Chicago, do students have a voice in Loyola's administration? The Blackhawks and the Bulls make it to the playoffs. And a Loyola golf cart takes on a life of its own. All this coming up on Loyola News Chicago.
From the Convergence Studio in the School of Communication, this is Loyola News Chicago.
Hello and welcome to Loyola News Chicago. I'm Israel Halawani.
And I'm Hope Salmon. We have the following ups today on two major stories. We will examine the finances of the athletic department during the College Basketball Invitational.
But first, we take a closer look at the power of student voices in the Loyola community. How much influence does student government actually have at Loyola? A recent letter from Loyola's President Garanzini has students questioning the power of their voice on campus. Chelsea Kuchek investigates just what role students actually play in decision-making at Loyola.
After Loyola's student government passed a controversial divestment resolution last month, Loyola President Father Michael Garanzini sent a letter that disrupted the normal process. He said the university wouldn't consider the resolution even before the SGLC president had time to approve or deny it. Student government remains offended by Garanzini's action.
We were following the steps, and the process was going well. And when we got that letter, it just shut down, everything that students had worked for.
Previous members of student government say this isn't the first time a student-passed resolution hasn't gone anywhere.
We might have had the textbooks and we worked with the final schedule and then the water bottles, but for the most part, a lot of change didn't actually take into effect.
This highlights a bigger issue. How strong is students' voice at Loyola?
I personally, so far in my year, haven't seen particular efforts that the administration has put out to students to hear their voice.
The current administration, they still want to run this like it's a corporation. It's not a corporation, it's a university.
Student government makes up part of what Loyola calls a shared governance, but not everyone is convinced.
What kind of system of shared governance bases all of its power into one body and basically one person?
The Phoenix's latest editorial says students placed on Board of Trustees subcommittees aren't enough, and the paper is proposing a solution.
Those committees do nothing. Those committees 2% nothing. They have no decision-making power. What we want is at least 2 student representatives with voting power in those Board of Trustees meetings that we hope would be open to the public.
Newly elected SGLC Student Government President Michael Fasulo says SGLC is working towards more voting power for students. Until then, he says he doesn't want students to lose hope.
I think students should if they feel disempowered, voice that. We lose when we respond in a way that administration wants us to respond to these letters, to shut down and say, we're not going to pursue this.
While we were unable to get a face-to-face interview with Father Garanzini, in a written statement he told us that SGLC's voice is important. However, they do not dictate what the university does. Father Garanzini said that, like all other organizations involved, SGLC only has the power of persuasion. Now, whether or not the newly elected SGLC Senate will have that power of persuasion has yet to be seen. We will have to wait till next academic semester. Chelsea Kuchek, Loyola News Chicago.
You can read the Phoenix's full proposal for better shared government on their website. The committee that chose Father Garanzini as Loyola president in 2000 was made up of university vice presidents, trustees, Jesuits, faculty members, and 2 students. At the time, the staff council and the Phoenix voiced concerns, saying the committee did not represent the entire university, particularly staff members. 15 years later, the Phoenix reports the committee defined Garanzini's replacement will be composed mostly of trustees. An editorial in this week's Phoenix expresses a concern that the search committee will be even less diverse than last time. Garanzini announced earlier resignation at the beginning of the semester.
According to the Loyola Phoenix, the student government has already spent in its nearly yearly budget $29,700. More than $600 was spent on a coffee machine, more than $200 on picture frames, and $1,400 on SGLC brand Nike zip-up jackets. SGLC President Michael Fasulo noted that members who wanted jackets had to pay half the cost, and that the previous year, student government had a surplus of $17,000. Academics or athletics. The debate over how much money is too much when it comes to spending on college sports has gone on for years. At Loyola, the issue is back on the forefront of students' minds after the university's recent involvement in the College Basketball Invitational. Nader Issa investigates and has some answers.
Loyola's recent participation in the College Basketball Invitational has raised some questions about where the university's athletic department spends its money. Although the tournament was a great way to bring the Ramblers men's basketball team national attention, it came at a hefty cost. According to Crane's Chicago Business, hosting the first round of the CBI cost the university $35,000. A second-round home game comes with a $50,000 bill, while hosting a game in the semifinals or finals costs a whopping $75,000. In Loyola's case, the team made it to the finals of the tournament, meaning the athletic department's bill came out to $235,000, assuming the school wasn't given a discount on any of the games. According to Loyola's new athletic director, Steve Watson, that money came from the athletic department's yearly budget, meaning extra money wasn't taken from another department. He defended the decision to spend that much money on one event.
We're looking to fund that basketball program to compete for championships and to be successful on a national level. And in order for us to do that, there's some financial things that we need to do.
On top of the CBI, the department opened the $26 million Norville Athletics Center in 2011 using a chunk of money that came from donations, not to mention men's basketball head coach Porter Moser, who earns a healthy compensation from the athletic department. According to a GuideStar report on Loyola's finances, Moser was the second highest paid employee at the university in 2013, only behind law school dean David Yellen. But despite the spending on athletics, Loyola students we talk to are in overwhelming support of the university's efforts to increase its sports presence.
I don't mind it at all because, one, we won. Two, it gives us something to be proud about as students.
It's great because students want us to have a stronger presence in the athletic field, and so investing and winning is the best way to get more attention.
Winning the CBI definitely helped Loyola's men's basketball program gain national attention, so it looks like the department's financial investment paid off. Nader Issa, Loyola News, Chicago.
University spending large sums of money on athletics isn't something that only happens at Loyola. According to the Red Alert Politics, the three highest paid employees on the Defense Department's payroll are the head of football coaches at the Army, Navy, and Air Force.
There have been so many reports of racism in this country, and recently we brought you a story about the racist chants from a fraternity in Oklahoma. As a member of Alpha Chi Omega herself, Greta Patrick decided to find out if racism happens in Loyola's Greek system.
Greek life at Loyola works a little differently than at many large universities. For one, we don't have houses. But being in a sorority in a city as diverse as Chicago raises the question, why aren't the sororities more diverse? I asked the only 3 African American women in my sorority, Alpha Chi Omega, if they had ever experienced racism. Junior Alexis O'Connor revealed one instance that took her aback.
After we did receive another black member, there was a sister that said, "Oh, now you're not the token black girl." And I was like, who says that to someone?
Junior Brianna Moore Gordon offered some insight into why she believes there are so few black women in the Panhellenic sororities on campus, and it may have to do with the Multicultural Greek Council, or MGC.
Minorities tend to gravitate towards people that are in their minority, so MGC probably has tons of black women that fit into their different sororities, and not necessarily because that's where they want it to be, not saying that they don't, but that's where they felt compelled to go.
Greek life is stereotyped for being elitist and unfortunately racist. So that raises a question for Loyola's Greek life. Are they doing enough to include everyone of all races?
Sophomore Kawana Abram shared her experience of the recruitment process and how she thinks it can be made more inviting to minority students.
Of the small African American community at Loyola, not very many of them think to rush because there aren't a lot of historically black sororities at Loyola. So if there were more events that let them know that they were welcome, I think that'd be nice.
All 3 of the women said that in Alpha Chi Omega, recruitment isn't so much about skin color, but about whether or not the women they're choosing have similar values. But Greek life has a long way to go to get rid of negative stereotypes. Greta Patrick, Loyola News, Chicago.
Currently, the Loyola chapter of Alpha Chi Omega has 124 members, but only 3 are African American.
Freshmen at Loyola are now able to participate in undergraduate research thanks to a $1.9 million grant from the Howard Hughes Medical Institute. The grant is directed towards students with science, technology, engineering, and math majors. Freshmen who applied during the fall 2014 will start their research session designing apps and analyzing stats starting in May. College can be scary for upcoming freshmen, but Loyola offers a way to make this a more pleasant experience. Maria Shetkowski gives us a look at Loyola's learning communities and how they can impact freshmen.
On the corner of Winthrop and Sheridan resides Simpson Hall, a recognized dorm for Loyola freshmen. But it's what Simpson holds that separates it from other dorms. Loyola's learning communities offer a unique first-year experience to freshmen. Gabrielle Wojtala, who lives in the Wellness Learning Community, has enjoyed Simpson and the community experience.
So living in a learning community has been a great first-year experience. We all live on the same floor, so I think that's really convenient in making good friendships. And we also all take a core class together, so that really helps us bond and connect in the first year.
Connecting with fellow students is vital to any college experience. Living in Simpson and being a part of a learning community helps freshmen adjust to the unfamiliar college lifestyle. In addition to the learning communities, Simpson Hall is also home to the Residence Life Association. The Residence Life Association handles housing and monitors the programming for the learning communities. Marilyn Krogh is the faculty director for the learning communities who deals with the academic and enrichment aspects of the program.
Students in the learning communities tended to report that they felt like they belonged, that they had made friends, they felt a little more comfortable with their professors and the university environment.
Just under 400 students are involved with the Learning Community Program. There are currently 6 learning communities in freshman dorms across Loyola's campus. One of the largest communities, the Leadership Community, resides in Simpson. Sarah Miyahara is an active member in the Leadership for Social Change community.
I think I got a lot more of the social activism out of my freshman year than a lot of other people do. Dorm life is really fun, but also getting to have the dorm life experience with a little something extra is a lot of fun.
Learning communities at Loyola are continuing to expand with more incoming freshman students choosing to live in them every year. Maria Shetkowski, Loyola News, Chicago.
Coming up on Loyola News, playoff season is here. How far will Chicago go?
And need your Walking Dead fix? One Illinois department gives a new twist on how they teach safety. More on that when we come back. We're coming down the home stretch. The men's volleyball team has just 2 games left before postseason play begins. Joaquin Carrick has more on the Ramblers' road to repeat in sports.
Thanks, Isra.
If you're suffering from a zombie withdrawal after the Walking Dead finale, the Illinois Department of Transportation, or IDOT, can help you.
There are a lot of scary things out on the road.
IDOT recently launched a public awareness campaign on traffic safety. They created a 10-minute online web series called The Driving Dead, which features characters trying to survive while suffering safe driving tips. IDOT chooses to highlight safe driving through a zombie theme to appeal to the males between the ages of 21 and 34. Other states have already approached IDOT about launching similar campaigns. Starting next year, you'll be able to bike from Edgewater to Joliet. Plans to expand the trail start just south of Loyola's Lakeshore campus are currently in the works. The long-term goal is to create a $100 mile called the Southland Trail, 97% of which will be off-road.
In case you missed it this week, a new Star Wars trailer has just been released for the upcoming movie. We've already seen lightsabers, R2-D2, and the Millennium Falcon in the previous trailer. What is it that makes this one so special?
Chewie, we're home.
That's right, Han Solo and Chewie are back. Harrison Ford has officially made his long-awaited debut in the new trailer. Star Wars The Force Awakens will fly into theaters this December. If intergalactic adventures aren't for you, you may be more excited about the recent Season 5 premiere of Game of Thrones. But if one episode isn't good enough, then there's better news. The first 4 episodes of Season 5 have been leaked to illegal TV viewing websites. The episodes will remain online for those who can't wait to watch Game of Thrones on a weekly basis. You know, I don't know about you, but I think I'm going to get into that show because that's all I've been seeing on my Snapchat recently.
I know, everybody's been watching it. I want to see what all the rage is about.
Dragons. I know it's about dragons. Coming up in our Loyola News Extra, Lane Davis reports on the job outlook for graduating seniors.
And protesters shut down part of downtown Chicago. Find out why when we come back. Workers from across the country are pushing for higher wages. Protesters rallied at numerous McDonald's locations across Chicago. Workers demanded multiple industries to raise their hourly wages to $15. These protests are a part of a national movement called Fight for 15. According to the fightfor15.org, strikes and rallies have happened in more than 200 cities in 35 countries in 6 continents. There's good news for those of you graduating in college in May. Lane Davis joins us today for Loyola News Extra to tell us why.
Yes, thanks, Hope. We all know finals are quickly approaching, and if that isn't stressful enough, let's add getting a job on top of it. But there's reason to be optimistic. The 2015 job market looks promising for both U.S. and international positions. I spoke with Bridget Peterson at the Career Center, where she shared the good news and offered tips for those on the job hunt.
This is the best the job outlook has been for recent graduates in over 15 years, according to NACE, which is the National Association of College Employers. They have put out a survey every year that talks to recruiters and HR folks about what their hiring plans are, and this year it looks really good for all recent grads.
Business and engineering still remain to be the top preferred degrees, according to NACE, with computer science, math, and communications rounding out the top 5. Employment rates for recent graduates increased over 8% from last year, and more than 60% of companies use social media to look for new hires. Companies may be using more technology, but Bridget says there's nothing better than face-to-face networking.
Get out from behind the computer. The computer's a great place to look for open positions, but when it comes to actually, getting in the door at that corporation or organization, you really want to try to get to know somebody inside of the walls. And the only way to do that is to go out and start talking to people, networking, finding some common ground with that company so that you're not just another resume, you're an actual person.
You can visit Bridget or other advisors at the Career Center for help with your resume, interview skills, and more. I certainly know I'm happy to see that communications made it to the top 5 of the list.
Definitely, because I'm graduating in 2 years with my fingers crossed, and I would love to see a job at the end of the finish line.
Yes, I'm sure you'll get one.
Thank
no
you.
worries.
Thank you for your interview.
You're welcome.
Hungry college students rejoice. Loyola has announced plans to open Clark's, a 24-hour diner chain. Clark's currently has 2 other locations, both in Evanston and Lakeview, and Loyola will be the chain's 3rd. The diner will be open in Loyola's Granada Center, located off of Sheridan Road. At this time, there's no information when Clark's may open. As we told you recently, a Whole Foods store is scheduled to open in the old Dominic's building near the Lakeshore campus. It's directly across the street from True Nature Foods Organic Market. To keep up with the new competition, True Nature has partnered with the Heartland Cafe and will leave its original location on Broadway to merge with Heartland, 2 miles away. True Nature Foods has been an organic market in Edgewater for more than 20 years.
What's your go-to restaurant when you eat out? Katrina Lim heads over to River North to find out which restaurant food is a crowd favorite.
DNA Info made a map that shows the highest concentrations of different types of restaurants in each Chicago neighborhood. Rogers Park seems to have a lot of vegetarian restaurants, Edgewater, Thai restaurants, and here in River North, there seems to be a lot of steakhouses.
My favorite food to go get, I'd probably have to say pizza. I work at a pizza place, so that's usually what I'd go for.
It kind of depends on my mood, but I really like fresh food, like deli and like sandwiches.
I go to Damon at the burger place because it's nice and cheap, but sometimes I go to Epic Burger right there, and that's awesome.
Any type of meat, steakhouses is good also for me. Any type of food, I'll try anything. I have no problem with that.
Well, it seems like Loyola students like a variety of food, but the crowd favorite also seems to look like it's burgers, pizzas, and sandwiches. I'm Katrina Lim, reporting for Loyola News, Chicago.
Loyola's Lakeshore campus was abuzz this morning as a driverless golf cart went in reverse at full throttle for several minutes. Students gathered to watch as the golf cart spun around and around in the entrance of Loyola's parking garage. It took several minutes for campus safety to show up, who struggled to stop the cart. Eventually, they broke the driver's side window and were able to hold on the car and cut the power. Needless to say, the video has gone viral throughout the student body.
That is so funny. I was trying to suppress my laughter so it didn't pick up on your life. What a funny video. Okay. I hope everyone enjoyed that.
I know, when I saw that, I thought it was a student that got into that golf cart, but apparently there's no one in there. That's our news for today, and thanks for watching.
We leave you today with scenes along the beautiful Chicago lakefront from Loyola News photographer Lane Davis. Have a great day.